For SunSentinel.com, this is Ira Winderman with your latest Miami Heat mailbag. Our first question today comes from Mateo, who says, what do the Heat do with Josh McRoberts, especially if Chris Bosh can't play? Mateo says that McRoberts showed in Charlotte he has the skill set to be a poor man's Chris Bosh. So does Erik Spoelstra try to get him back to that style of play? Have him be aggressive, shoot the open three when there, go to the hoop with a vengeance? Or do the Heat simply hope to bury him, so at the end of the year McRoberts becomes disenchanted and opts out of his contract next summer? Mateo, it was interesting. Here you had Mickey Arison, who mentioned, of course, Josh McRoberts in his recent letter to fans, albeit last among the returning veterans or the older veterans. But I do wonder. McRoberts was touted a couple of years ago as being a catalyst, and Erik Spoelstra has said as much. And yet it really hasn't panned out. Now, to me, the ball as much is in Erik Spoelstra's court as it is for Josh McRoberts. Does he get on the court? Did he try to make something out of this? Or with Dwayne Wade gone, does everything get reset? And perhaps McRoberts never gets the chance that so many thought he would. Our next question comes from Jack in Fort Myers, who says, the Heat have stashed basically a bunch of players for their DLeague team by offering them large guarantees to come to training camp. But if the NBA wants teams to all have NBA Developmental League affiliates, then why risk losing those players? It's a good point, and I know that Adam Simon really tries to stock the best possible players in Sioux Falls to develop them, but you're right. Players like Rodney McGruder, Stefan Jankovic, and Akara White all have six-figure guarantees to come to camp. Almost all, if not all three, will wind up going to Sioux Falls. But at any point during the season, they can be claimed by another team. There has to be a better system in the NBA, where if you're making that kind of guarantee to a player, sending him to your D-League team, you should have some way of retaining the player before they get poached elsewhere. The NBA does have a D-League issue, and they do have to address it. And our last question today comes from Mo, who says, both Dion Waiters and Wayne Ellington are career backups. Why is everyone suddenly acting like the Heat can make them stars? Mo, you have to try to make players stars. You have to take a chance, especially with Dion Waiters, such a high draft choice. And he had his moments with the Cavaliers, had his moments with the Thunder. Basically, what you have to do now is make sure that Josh Richardson and Tyler Johnson get the minutes that they need, that they deserve. But I think you still take a look at Waiters, you take a look at Ellington as a three-point specialist, and you hope that they can help carry you through the year. Because this might be a year the Heat still could play for the playoffs, especially if Chris Bosh returns. Those are today's three questions. We'll be back tomorrow with three more. For SunSentinel.com, I'm Ira Winderman.